We're talking about the Aussie, Ben Simmons, who put on a happy face in Brooklyn. The man who was in hiding in the witness protection program all season long in Philly, didn't want to be part of his unwashed Sixer teammates. Now here he was, sitting courtside, all smiles under that mask, happy-go-lucky. Simmons hasn't played this season. He held a wildcat strike out of Philly, was upset because they said mean things about him and the fans booed him. And he requested time to address mental health. Now, many people had said that that was nonsense, that Ben Simmons and the people around Ben Simmons were tossing that out as an intentional roadblock, that it was not based in reality. And now we see Ben Simmons arrive with a new team, and it appears that is the magic placebo. So let us discuss the question, what is your initial reaction to Ben Simmons' happy-go-lucky arrival in Brooklyn? So I've got electric chair, Forrest Gump, and my pillow. And we will combine all of those three things together, and that will be the foundation for this Maller monologue. Now, number one. Ben Simmons has all but confirmed by his actions that the conspiracy theorists, the wackadoodles that people said these people were true. All right? All the yahoos that were dismissed as being the lunatic fringe appear to be validated here. Ben Simmons in Philadelphia was a charlatan, a fake, a phony, and a fraud. And this guy has been hiding behind the mental health card, playing it from the bottom of the deck, knowing that that makes you untouchable in a polite society. The establishment media are afraid of even slightly criticizing someone who makes this claim. Like Ben Simmons, and because many of the wokesters just blindly accept any kind of claim in this area. It's the third rail, right? It's a third rail, my man. You're headed to the electric chair if you challenge any kind of claim of someone saying, I'm a little off mentally. Buckle in for 2,000 volts at 7 to 12 amps in the electric chair. Now, if you say it's mental health, the media has to believe you. Hook, line, and sinker. There is no proof needed. No questions should be asked. You just accept it because if he said it, it must be true. Right? It's like Keyshawn Johnson famously said of Peyton Manning, who was using his wife as a drug mule, according to a documentary, that if Peyton says he didn't do it, he didn't do it. Well, it turns out he did do it. There's a bunch of evidence that proves he did do it. Now, secondly, the moral of the story here is that Ben Simmons was able to play the system. Now, he didn't play it perfectly because he did get fined a lot of money, but every man, woman, and child should be able to agree that Ben Simmons, the people around Ben Simmons, are a bunch of dopes. This is not right. It's not right what he did because it cheapens people that have legitimate claims, that have legitimate issues. And because Ben Simmons is a star athlete, he can claim this and he gets a pass, and it's ridiculous. And he still had to pay a bunch of fines anyway, but it cheapens legitimate claims. It's the Chicken Little syndrome. And the issue is not even so much with Ben Simmons, it's the people around the NBA world, the lemmings, who continue to stand by Ben Simmons, even after we have direct evidence showing that this was likely a ruse. And it's as Forrest Gump taught us all in that old movie, right? Stupid is as stupid does. We have loads of social media psychiatrists giving out diagnoses on what happened here. But here are the facts. We have the facts now. He didn't want to play in Philly anymore. They said mean things about him. Boo-hoo-hoo. They tossed verbal raspberries at him. Guys like our occasional caller, Fats in Philly, were mean to him because he didn't make shots. And so it was uncomfortable. Does that mean it's mental illness because people are booing you in sports? Anytime somebody gets booed in sports, that's mental illness? Is that where we're at right now? Is that the bar? Is that the standard? I would like to think not. I mean, these are grown-up problems you have as a star athlete. Is it also true the 76ers were so toxic that Ben Simmons despised being in Philly so much, he agreed to a $177 million contract to stay there. Must have been pure agony. Must have been horrible, right? After all, Simmons in his camp said, well, it's not about the money. Okay, so if it was not about the money, why not just play out the rookie deal and then leave? Why would you sign a $177 million contract? So instead of handling your business like a grown-up, he acted like a gutless puke. He created a bed of nails, and then he wanted a new bed somewhere else. He wanted somebody else to sleep in his bed. He wanted to go to a different room in the mansion. And the other element to this, that it was Ben Simmons' actions on the court at the end of games that caused the toxicity. So he's the one that started the situation by his performance and lack of performance at the end of games. And what does he expect? To get applause when he plays like a bum at the end of playoff games and is so passive he's afraid to shoot? What is he supposed to get, a standing ovation and like a statue and his number retired? That's not how it works. It's not how, maybe it will get to that point, but it's not how it works now in sports. Now, final point. So what we've seen here is a textbook example of the actions that Ben Simmons has done to get himself in this situation. He's doing it again now. He turtles up at the end of games. The Aussie muffed it. Right? And in Philly in general, Doc Rivers didn't answer a question the right way, didn't support Simmons enough. And Joel Embiid, who's actually got thick skin and can take a punch, and so he was throwing some jabs as a teammate, and that was just too much. That was, imagine, what a world. What a world. What a world. Rather than being, listen, you bust my chops. I played like a bum. Ben Simmons should have said, you know what? I was terrible. I'm going to be better. I'm not going to play like that again. I'll take all your shots. But instead, it's fear, panic, and confusion that take over. It's the Omega way of life, and this guy is the ultimate Omega. All right, he's a pushover in crunch time, and his reputation precedes him. And I'm telling you, he ought to be the new face of MyPillow. I know Mike Lindell's the guy over there, but what a soft player and a crybaby. He's a crybaby. And rather than put the sweat equity in and work on his game and prove people wrong, right? I'm going to prove these people wrong. No, Ben Simmons is the conductor of the pity train, which I believe derailed right there where the intersection of suck it up and move on take place, just wallowing as the victim. And I can't wait for the playoffs to start, and assuming that the draconian COVID rules remain in place in New York and Kyrie Irving will not be able to play home games, at some point Durant, who's very brittle, will get hurt. So then the Nets are going to send out a lineup with no Kyrie and no Durant. And so everything will be on Ben Simmons. How do you think that is going to play out? What is more likely, that Ben Simmons is going to rise up and go bonkers in the fourth quarter of a close playoff game, or that Ben Simmons will be on the bench sucking his thumb in the fetal position? Which one is more likely to happen? But, hey, we're still in the honeymoon phase. Everything's great in Brooklyn right now. Simmons hasn't even played a game yet. He was just out playing grab ass with Durant, smiling on the bench and all that. And he hasn't vanished in the fourth quarter of a big game. And that right there, that's when the rubber meets the road. Right? That's when we'll find out what this is all about. And the good news is that Brooklyn has a transient fan base. Right? It's New York, but it's a transient team. It's a team that you've got a hodgepodge. There's a core fan base, but it's a group that it's not the same temperature as it is in Philadelphia. But they'll still boo, and they still have tabloids, and they'll still say nasty things in the tabloids, and they'll tell you to go out and break a leg, and they will really want you to break a leg when they tell you to go out and break a leg. So